Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest today is a returning guest from the Roger Williams Park Zoo, Janet Mariani. She's here to talk about the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular, but we've got other stuff to get to with her as well. So we'll be back. Keep it here. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest today for the first segment, a returning guest to the show from the Roger Williams Park Zoo. She's the Director of Marketing and Public Relations for the Roger Williams Park Zoo, Janet Mariani. First of all, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
We have big doings going on at the Roger Williams Park Zoo, and that's the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular. We will get into that, but before we do, let's, for those who may be tuning in for the first time, give them sort of a rundown exactly what Roger Williams Park Zoo is and what someone would have to look forward to if they visited.
Well, Roger Williams Park Zoo is one of the oldest zoos in the country. We date back to 1872. We're a beautiful park-like setting with very naturalistic enclosures for the animals. We have over 100 species of animals. And so in and of itself, it's a wonderful zoo to experience. This year, though, we had a number of really wonderful firsts. We opened for the first time our Hasbro's, our big backyard, wonderful and unique outdoor play area for kids and their families, and that features the CVS Caremark All Kids Can Tree House. And this is just a place where kids can come and their parents can come and get totally unplugged and just explore and have a blast in this wonderful outdoor area.
What does unplugged mean? Like no...
Well, by unplugged, I mean these days kids, even little kids, are very focused on the digital world.
Right,
they're surrounded by it.
Yeah.
Well, this is a place where you go where there's no on-off buttons to push.
Oh, okay. You
push something to see, hey, what will that do? You know, if there's a water wall, if I plug in the hose this way, what's going to spin? You go in the tree house and there's this cool kaleidoscope window, and if I spin this wheel, what's going to happen? There's all kinds of materials there, all kinds of things for kids to play with. There's a creativity zone, a building area, a drip-drop water garden. Kids actually come to the zoo in their bathing suits in the summer.
No kidding.
To experience this. They're having a great time. So that is a wonderful, wonderful experience. And we also this year opened 3 new animal exhibits that we were very excited about. First, we brought in Sichuan takin, which are think of it sort of as an Asian bison. You picture it as an Asian bison. Big, impressive horns and a big moose-like snout. They're native to the Himalayan mountain areas of Asia. There are no other takin in New England, and they're very cool to see. Then we also have king vultures, which, other than the condor, they're second in size only to the condor in the Americas. Wow. So they have a 5.5-foot wingspan and really cool feathering, and their heads are brightly colored, blue and red and orange, with this big orange caruncle that wobbles around on their nose. And then the last one that we just opened a couple of weeks ago is the African Red River hogs. And they are red hogs with these really cool tusks and big whiskers on them, and they're in the Africa area. And none of those animals can be found in any other zoo. So it's well worth a trip up to Providence.
Are there always changes that are happening, new exhibits coming in, other ones going out, just a rotation for Roger Williams Zoo when people come to visit?
Certainly, that's a goal that we have, is that each year when you come, there's going to be something new to experience. And there will be another new exhibit next year. Maybe I can come back next year and tell you about that.
Even during the fall and winter, Roger Williams Zoo is or not as much, or?
The zoo is open year-round.
Okay.
January, February, we have half-price admission.
Okay.
And I think for people, there are a number of people who come throughout the year, and what we hear from them is that there's always something new to see. Different animals in different areas behave differently. In the winter, some of the animals are off exhibit, but there's a number of animals that are even more active. Animals along the Marco Polo trek, like those takin I was just telling you about, or the red panda or the moon bear. They love the snow, so they'll be out there. We have 9 months of the year. We have a variety of events to offer people. Starting in April with School Vacation Week, we've got Party for the Planet. We certainly have school vacation camps all summer long. We've got great camps, wonderful counselors, wonderful education program. As well as a number of just education programs where, like, there might be a once-a-month program that parents might like to do.
School field trips and things of that sort.
There's plenty of schools that come and do field trips. And then, we have a Mom's Day. We do something Mom's Day weekend. In the fall, we've got Jack-O-Lantern Spectacular, but we also, that's a nighttime event that appeals to all ages.
Right.
When you hear about it, it really does have to be. But also for families and kids who prefer something in the daytime, some kind of Halloween-themed daytime fun, we have Spooky Zoo, which takes place in the last weekend of October. And the details for that are on the website. But basically, there are an array of events that are offered from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., including a little trick-or-treat trail. Kids in costume get in for half price. All the fun activities come with your admission. And then the Saturday after Thanksgiving, Santa arrives in splendor, and there's a really fun parade that goes through the zoo, and then kids can have their picture taken with a number of the various folks that are in the parade. And we have visits with Santa, visits with the Easter Bunny. So there's something for families almost all year round.
It's great to hear that after the summer ends, that certainly, I mean, it gets just as exciting in the fall and winter at the zoo.
It's a slightly different experience, but any time is a great time to come to the zoo.
And it also seems like there's more themed activities once you end with summer too. Like, for example, the big Jack-O-Lantern Spectacular that's coming up. Since we are taping at that particular point in time, let's talk about that.
All right, Jack-O-Lantern Spectacular is a phenomenal display of 5,000 pumpkins carved and illuminated, set along our beautiful wetland trail area. So you're walking through the woods at night and seeing a beautiful array of scenery. It's been wonderful to have them at the zoo. This is actually their second round at the zoo. You'll hear more about the long history of the show. But they came back to the zoo in 2009, and it's been really exciting to see how it's grown in terms of the awareness of folks around the country of the exhibit and the number of people who are coming to see the show. Over the course of the month, the last 2 years, we had over 103,000 people come each year.
Wow.
And so people travel to come and see the show. And when you stand on the exit line and you hear people talking when they're leaving, people just love it. Right. It's just, it lives up to its name.
Word of mouth is one of the best forms of advertising.
That's right.
If somebody has a good time and they really are in awe of the event, they're going to tell people. I mean, and then it's just a domino effect after
Absolutely.
that. You know?
Absolutely.
I wanted to, since you were talking about this, I wanted you to be able to give you the opportunity to kind of talk about some of the accolades that you've received, the zoo has received. I believe the Jack-O-Lantern Spectacular is part of it, but talk about national exposure and things of that.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Well, the Hasbro's Our Big Backyard got a tremendous amount of visibility across the nation. It was just that there were articles that were picked up all around the country, which was very exciting. And the Jack-O-Lantern Spectacular has been noted in a variety of vehicles over the last 4 years, but in particular we're very excited this year because it was selected by the American Bus Association, which is a huge tourism organization. The American Bus Association selected the Jack-O-Lantern Spectacular as one of its top 100 destinations in the country for the year 2013.
Wow.
So we're really excited about that. And also we got noted in Martha Stewart Living this month, which was very exciting.
Wow.
That was very exciting. So it's wonderful being on that national radar screen.
And you being a person that's involved with PR, listen, this is great for you. Then you can go and brag.
It's wonderful exposure for the event, and it is such a unique, beautiful event. We really want as many people as possible to see it because there's really nothing else like it anywhere.
Let's talk. I want you to give out the website so people can go and learn more about it. But talk about what's on the website too.
Well, do you mean for Jack-O-Lantern Spectacular or everything in general?
Well, if you go to the Roger Williams Park Zoo website, I'm sure you'll be able to access information about the Jack-O-Lantern Spectacular too. Maybe it even has its own section.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So the website is rwpzoo.org, and there's information on all of our exhibits, all the animals that we have on exhibit, all kinds of information that anybody could need if they're planning to come, whether they're planning to bring a group or if they want to have a birthday party or if they want to register for education programs or whatnot. All of that can be done on the internet. If you want to make a donation to the zoo, you could do that on the website. We also have information on all the conservation projects that we do on the website. It's fantastic. But if you go to rwpzoo.org and you click on the calendar of events, or you go plan your visit and you're going to find yourself in the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular section of the website, you'll get all the details on the pricing. There's a set of pricing for Monday through Thursday, and then on the weekends, what the pricing is for the weekends. It's got the hours. In general, admission is from 6 to 10 and the trail closes at 11. However, it's being extended this year on Saturdays and for that Sunday the 7th, which is Columbus Day weekend. But there's information on the pricing, there's directions on how to get here. There's information on the Harvest Buffet, which is a great opportunity for people who would like to make a whole night of it, and they would also maybe like to get to the zoo in advance of some crowds. That is a buffet that you can purchase your ticket between 5 and say 6:45 every night, and it gets you in. You have your meal, and then you get expedited to the head of the trail to get in the line. So some people like that as an option.
We should also note that on the website, of course, you have a Facebook page, so there'll be a link there that you can click and go on the Facebook page too, and partake in the in the social media, as it were,
That's
with
right. That's
Facebook
right.
too.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Janet Mariani, the Director of Marketing and Public Relations for Roger Williams Park Zoo, and thanks for talking a bit about the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular. We'll talk more about that in the second segment, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We'll take a break and come back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay with us. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. We are chatting with the fine folks from the Roger Williams Park Zoo, and specifically the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular coming up soon. And in this segment, we go right to the source. The founder, John Reckner, is our guest. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sean.
We're going to talk about this big boy behind us here in a second. But let's talk, let's talk a little history about the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular. How far back does it go? How has it evolved to what it has become today? Let's do that.
Sean, 26 years ago,
Wow.
I took my family up to northern Vermont to see a mountainside display of just simple jack-o'-lanterns, and very impressive. Got back to my home in Oxford, Massachusetts. Have a daily ritual taking my dogs for a walk in the woods in the evening, and the light bulb kind of went off. Walking down the trail, I visualized these giant glowing orbs with large images from Frank Sinatra, the Beatles, Elvis, animals, you name it, we can do it. And that's pretty much how the idea of it began.
Okay, and then how do you have an idea and transition it into something more reality-based like the Spectacular that it's become today?
Well, I think as it progressed, and as we moved on into Providence, Roger Williams Zoo, and the size of it got quite large, and the themes and the nature of the themes became a little more extensive, and we got more into a history show of whether it's presidents. We've done shows from different eras, time frames, the Renaissance. So our show is kind of a thinking man show.
Yeah, very educational, right?
Yes, we
I mean,
try
it's
to make
fun,
it.
but it's educational.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
You got to learn something from it,
And this year we're doing all the great Oscar-winning movies.
Oh yeah.
And so Gone with the Wind, Sound of Music, Titanic. So music is very much a part of the artistry as well. It kind of brings everything to life.
Godfather in there at all? Or
Who is it?
Godfather?
Godfather's
is it
in there. He's in there.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
my movie was in there too. So every year it's sort of a different theme.
Different
right?
themes
You change
every
it
year.
every year. And it's grown every year?
Every year, our first year at the zoo we had 82,000, and now we're up over 100,000 every year.
That's excellent. You know, and even in lieu of, you know, like the economy, the way it's been, people are still willing. They actually want a break from their troubles, maybe a release. And so this actually, if you think the economy's bad and people might not spend the money to go, it's actually just the opposite, right?
Well, for us, we're family friendly. We're not into scaring anybody. We're more about mysticism, and but we're family affordable. Comparing to some of these haunted houses.
Right.
So I think that's the other issue. You can bring your family without taking a second mortgage on your house.
You know, and there's plenty, because it is the Halloween season, there's plenty of haunted houses to go around. So it actually might not be a bad idea to do what you're doing, do something different. This doesn't have to be a scary event. And, you know, in this way, you can bring the younger kids. You really can bring the whole family to this because it's a fun, not only, don't tell the little ones that it's an educational place too, because they don't want to learn. They just want to go and have a good time, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right. So now, how has it changed and evolved since you started doing it? I mean, obviously it's grown, but what is different now than it was when it first started out, aside from the size and the amount of people that are coming?
Right. Well, certainly over the years now, this is our 25th year. We've hired a lot of great artists. So the artistry is, comparing it to prior years, it just surpassed. The other element too is we've got Bose surround sounds. We have 19 musical skits.
Technology in there.
So
now,
the
too.
music, and of course it's such an attractive landscape. We like highlighting some of the unique trees with colored lighting. So I always look at it, there's three elements that come into play: the illuminated artwork, the background environment, and the music. And you bring those three together and it creates a little magic.
Now, did you envision it the way it has become now way back when? Because I know you know, maybe your vision wasn't as grand as it has become, and that's a good thing because you always wanted to evolve and grow beyond what maybe your wildest dream was. But did you envision it being what it is now?
I don't think I could have thought it would grow into the size that it is now, but now, give you for instance, for one of the skits from this show, be a elaborate Titanic skit, and we usually get these 1,500-pound pumpkins, and we'll do an engraving of the Titanic, put it out into the water, and with that Bose surround sound for the chorus music. So this, I believe, is going to be a highlight as one of our better seasons.
Now, as founder, what is your role with the Jack-O-Lantern Spectacular these days? What are your sort of day-to-day duties at this point? Obviously, building up to it, you're very busy, especially when you really get to crunch time. But has your role changed since 25 years ago or so?
I don't get to do as much artwork as I would like.
Okay.
But it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
I'm down at the zoo frequently and bouncing back and forth between the art studios, making sure that's running. So more or less just overseeing the whole operation.
Okay. Now, as it has grown, have you had to, obviously more people are involved, have you had to sort of delegate more and have more people do more things? Because it would be out of control if you tried to, micromanage everything. Right?
Exactly. Well, this is interesting, Sean. We've had the same people putting this event on now for the last 15 years. It's same people who take 6 weeks off from their everyday jobs, and they're really the heart and soul of this event.
Now, how far back in the season do you start planning for the upcoming year? How far back are we talking?
Well, I think in January, in the thick of winter.
Wow.
I'll sit down and try to brainstorm what this year's themes are going to be.
Yeah, well, so way that far back, huh?
Oh,
So that's
yeah.
where it all kind of starts. So let's talk about this big girl behind us, which, as it turns out, is not actually a big girl at all. This is like a little one compared to some of the things you have there. This is one of your smallest, actually.
Actually,
right?
This is too small to be in the show.
Wow.
So I could bring it in here.
Yeah.
But this is one of my favorite animals at the zoo, a snow leopard. Mm-hmm. And what we'll do now, this is maybe a 40-pound pumpkin. We use pretty much exclusively around 100 pounds. And the presentation on these large images is people will find it, I'm sure, very pleasing.
And it's all about the artwork on that. I mean, that's just a typical example. Now, if those are too small to use in the show, but the small ones do have their purposes, right? And what are they basically used for?
Well, normally something that size, we'll just use them as background. We have
Okay.
around 5,000 background pumpkins that, of course, the highlight of the show is the artistry and the 130 large pumpkins that we have.
Yeah. Now that's a 40-pounder, you said.
About,
And,
yeah.
and everybody struggled bringing that in. Imagine if you tried to bring one of the 100-pounders in. You know? We'd have to have a separate camera just for that one itself. And the artwork on these things must be amazing. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, there's no limit to what we'll attempt. Norman Rockwell's Saturday Evening Post covers, Michelangelo's, Da Vinci's, we've done them all, and we welcome the challenge. And so that's pretty much what the show is about. It's all ages. Once again, you can be 3 years old or 90 years old, and there'll be something there for you to see.
Now this pumpkin has the artwork on it, but it's not actually a jack-o'-lantern because it's not carved. Now obviously there are plenty that are carved too, right?
Sure.
So that's part of the artwork for some people, to just carve it up and make that their art, and then others it's just the paint or whatever it is just on the outside of the pumpkin and it's not cut, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so there's all kinds of different things.
Well, for instance, our technique is basically we use these oil-based markers. And the oil-based, simply, if we get a heavy rainstorm, it won't wash the image away. And then what we'll do is we'll skin out that area. We look at everything as a black and white image. And the actual night of the show, when we put these fluorescent light bulbs in there so they don't heat the pumpkins up, we'll go around and touch up each one of these pumpkins and remove more light if it's needed.
Wow, that just gives it that more of that, that feeling, that eerie feeling, in a way.
Yes.
Not eerie, but depending on the artwork or what your goal is, what you're attempting to do with it.
Yes.
Now the artful display of 5,000 pumpkins, it runs October 4th through November 3rd, right?
Yes.
Is there anything special that happens on Halloween night itself? Anything out of the ordinary compared to the other days?
Well, oddly enough, Halloween is our slowest night of the year.
Because everyone's out.
So we encourage people to come on Halloween to avoid the long lines, have your Halloween party at the zoo.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So come on down. And if you're not a fan of big crowds, maybe going on Halloween would be the perfect time to go. Sounds like it's going to be a great time. It's the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular. Over 5,000 to check out. It's going to be an amazing show. John Reckner, the founder of the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular, thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
And we'll put a website, the graphic for the website up again. You go there, you click on it, and there's the whole section for the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. We'll see you next time. Take care.